This show is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find the other great shows on the network, head over to thedeluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hold on, stop.
Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, Boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that. Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill. You want to be my wife?
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.
What is going on? And welcome to Take on the World with
Man, the myth, the legend himself, the Night Prowler.
and
Nathan Blaze.
Mike D. We just taped a show where we just bullshit and talked about wrestling for a good hour.
Yeah, probably could have went a whole lot longer.
I'll tell you what, if Love Bug was here, we would have went 3 hours.
Oh, easily.
Because when we start telling stories, it just goes and goes and goes and goes.
I mean,
But
even
be
as
going
we
more
were
than 3
talking, it
hours.
was just like, you know, one thing, it was like, I'd start thinking of this
I
story.
got this story
and
too.
this story.
I got this story.
But then you went here, now I'm thinking about this story. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Not enough time in the day.
Yeah.
But that's what the podcast is about. Like when we started this, me and John and Katie, it'd be what we sit down and talk about at lunchtime. Where you sit around and talk about the water cooler, talk around the water cooler.
Yeah.
The stupid shit, stupid conversations you would have. And your information might not be right. Man, you had a fun time talking about it.
yeah,
And that would break up our day at work. Like you get 30, 35, 40 minutes, sneak an hour out of it maybe sometimes at work. And, you know, you just bullshit and talk about stupid stuff. That doesn't change anybody's. Like this podcast, the only two things that are off limits are politics and religion. Because people are too polarized by those two topics.
Sure.
And that's not what we're about. And I don't want it to slap somebody.
and
So,
it doesn't have to be in everything, you know? It's
Right.
I mean, people want breaks from stuff. That's why I hate when they put it in, like, movies.
I stopped watching the news because of that.
Oh,
Like,
me too.
Legit, I just don't want to watch the news. I watch local news because that's usually politics free. But anytime the news starts getting political, I just shut the fuck off. I'm just done. I'm just tired of it. I don't care if you vote for Joe Biden or Donald Trump. I don't give a shit. Keep it to yourself. I want to talk about stupid shit. So, housekeeping. We are on the Deluxe Edition Network. It's a group of podcasts get together. Everybody tries to promote everybody else. Everybody does something a little bit different. And that's the deluxeeditionnetwork.com. Stop there, check out all the podcasts are on there. And when you're done listening to all the other podcasts, come back to this one.
Always
This is
come
our
back.
81st episode, which I'm impressed that we made it past 10. To be at 81.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even count our beer reviews. We do beer reviews and knife reviews. Doesn't count. One of our knife reviews has more hits than any other video we put up on YouTube. We did the K55K, which is a knife that I really love.
Yeah.
It was a German-made trench knife, basically press-made, just pressed metal. But it's a cool little knife. It's sharp as hell, and it's solid. And my buddy John turned me on to that knife. He actually gave me one because he has like multiples.
Huh.
And I carry that knife with me everywhere. But that review has more hits on YouTube and on Spotify than anything else we've done.
Did you ever watch Forge and Fire?
Oh yeah.
Oh, all
Yeah.
the time.
I actually I watch Alex Steele on YouTube, he's a British guy, does blacksmithing and forging. He decided not to do Forge and Fire because of the amount of time it would have taken to do the show. He said it would have just taken too much of his time, and he just wants to do his craft.
Yeah.
So I would think there's probably other people that don't do that show for the same reason, and I think the show's missing out on some very talented blacksmiths by making it so intense to be on there.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point. So see us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. I'm going to link them all below. Do all the algorithm stuff, press buttons, ring bells, whatever. Hit likes.
Repeatedly.
And if you're listening on Spotify, please give us a 5-star rating on Spotify. And if you don't like us, give us a 5-star you suck. I'm okay with that. And I am going to kill this freaking fly. At some point, it's going to be a loud noise. Anyway, so we got together to do a movie review today. And I checked out, and we've been friends on Facebook for a while. Now we've known each other for, shit, 2001.
Yep.
So that's a long time. 19 years. 20 years, whatever. I can't count. Math is hard. But recently I saw that you do movie reviews, and I got kind of excited because I have always been a cinephile. I have always been someone, and he'll tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I love TV and movies. I always have. Going back to one of the first scary movies I ever saw, which is the movie Magic, which most people never heard of. It was a mannequin dummy, and it scared the shit out of me. I wasn't allowed to watch it, and I snuck down and watched it in the middle of the night when everybody was passed out drunk, and I had nightmares for fucking weeks. In fact, the Heart song Magic Man, it makes me uncomfortable when it comes on the radio.
Really?
But I love horror movies. I've seen the most disgusting, gory horror movies, and that one still, for some reason, is in my psyche, and that's what a horror movie should do.
Well, I grew up loving horror movies. Here's the problem I have today. I've seen it. I've seen everything that's out there. And it's just like, so if you're not putting out something that's good and not painfully obvious, that's what ruins horror movies for me today. So when you get some good ones here and there, like The Conjuring, they were great horror movies.
The best horror movies don't show the kills.
Yeah.
I feel. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the first one. It wasn't super gory until a certain point.
Yeah.
But it left a lot to the imagination. Psycho left a lot to the imagination. Although Psycho would be more of a suspense film than a horror film, that can be argued by someone else. It's still horror to me. House on Haunted Hill.
Great one, man.
Like, there's some great, and like I said, I'm a cinephile, and especially with horror movies. So now, in the past, our show has done some, movie stuff. We've touched on our favorite horror movies, our favorite horror movie villains, and stuff like that. And
Can't do horror. I'm a wuss.
He's not a huge fan of horror movies, but I'm getting him into some of, like, Predator could be considered horror, but it's not. It's action.
Yeah.
But I got him into the Predator movies to talk about the topic we were here today. I saw that you put a review up that you saw Prey.
Yes.
And that was on Prowlers Pit on Facebook. I'm going to link it below. And immediately as soon as I saw it, I commented on it.
Yep.
And you commented back, and like you were asking about the Easter eggs, and I'm like, I'm not going to spoil anything. But for the record, if you have not seen Prey, turn this off now.
Yeah.
Because we are going to spoil the shit out of Prey. I'm going to spoil the shit out of Prey, Predator, Predator 2, Predators, and a little bit of AVP. Not too much.
I'll have to cry about those.
He hasn't watched them yet. So I have always looked at movies and judged them by the time they were made. So if it's a 1980s movie, I judge it on a 1980s scale. I don't judge it on a 2022 scale.
Oh,
with
no.
CGI, and I'm a huge fan of practical effects, which you have a lot in this movie. There are some CGI effects. There has to be for what it is.
For Predator.
But there's a lot of practical effects in this movie. I love them. Anyway, so I saw your review, and I'm like, hey, dude, we haven't seen each other for a while. Let's get together, chit-chat a little bit, do a movie review. I don't normally do reviews, but let's do it.
I do one or two here.
Hey, you do them all the time. I've been seeing them for a while. I've seen Prowlers Pit ever since you invited me to join the group. I joined it. I'm like, oh, I love this. Yeah. Because I'm a movie guy. But so we just got done talking for an hour and a half about wrestling and our history and all kinds of shit. We meandered, and I'll tell you what, it didn't seem like an hour and a half to me.
Oh, it definitely did.
When I looked down at the time, I'm like, oh shit, we've been here an hour and a half, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I was sitting here quiet for most of it because I don't know too much about wrestling. I went to some of his shows growing up, so I know. So I was sitting quiet for most of it, but it didn't feel like an hour and a half to me either.
No, because like I like talking about stuff that I'm passionate about.
Mhm.
We do the podcast sometimes. We do topics that I'm doing a lot of reading. Like I enjoy the topic, but like wrestling, I'm passionate about. Horror movies, I'm passionate about.
We did another hour and a half.
Easy. And like I
Still
said,
had stories to tell.
like I said, if Love Bug was here, it would have been a lot longer. Now you drove a good amount of distance. How long did you drive to get down here?
It's not that far from me, not especially since we've been wrestling. I mean, that's just like when we used to, when I used to train in Allentown. A little shorter. It took me roughly about an hour and a half.
Yeah, hour and a half. That's still a good amount of time to sit down in someone's basement you haven't seen for 15 years.
That's a small price to pay.
Yeah. But I'm glad you came down. I appreciate it.
Be here, man. First segment was a blast.
And you're welcome back anytime. If you hear, because now you're going to listen to the podcast, obviously. If you hear a topic coming up that you're interested in and you want to throw your 2 cents in, if you can't make it down, we'll see if we can do something remotely. I don't know how to do it yet. Like, I used to be super techie.
Yeah.
And I still like techie stuff. I'm just not techie. Actually, Casey is techie. He does interviews all the time remotely.
Oh, you need
I need an IT guy.
an IT guy, I hear.
I need an IT guy with 2 hands.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's just me.
That was mean. That was a shot. Shots across the bow.
It's a shoot. It's a shoot.
So if you see something you're interested in coming down again, or even if like a couple months from now you just want to come and sit down and talk about another movie, let's do it, bro.
Oh, absolutely. Man.
Like I say, let's keep in touch because, I miss all the guys. I kept in touch with everybody for a long time, and I still see D-Man every once in a while. I was seeing Sebastian McCool for a long time, but like I don't see him that much. I've only talked to him a couple times in the last year. Love Bug, like every once in a while we'll get together for breakfast, but we used to talk every morning. We don't anymore. So like, I don't want those friendships to fall away.
Yeah.
So.
Well, for me, it seems like, I mean, me and you've been friends for a little bit on Facebook.
Yeah.
But I think people must have seen us talking, because the next thing Bob friend requested me, I was like, oh, cool, there's Love Bug. Then Mongoose requested me, and I was like, oh man, this is great. We're getting the band back together.
Yeah.
Me and John have always been Facebook friends.
Yeah. But he's not on Facebook much.
No.
He doesn't post much.
He's got
now, I haven't talked to John in a long time. The last couple of things that Snake has had, or D-Man, I haven't seen John there, but Adam Toot has been there. Love Bug's been there. Mongoose showed up. Forget who else was there, but we had a kind of good time hanging out in his backyard, usually around 4th of July-ish. But I maybe in spring next year, I try to put something. I got enough property here. We could get something together here and at least get everybody to come up and hang out, have some burgers.
That'd be awesome.
I'll make some barbecue. I'll make you some more barbecue.
Gotta make some more of those ribs.
I'll do maybe a brisket and a pork shoulder.
And ribs.
And ribs. And ribs. So, we're going to link Prowlers Pit. And what else? You have something on YouTube too, right?
Yeah, it's under Charles Legg.
Okay.
It's just miscellaneous YouTube. I'm trying to build up a base, mainly for future, because at some point, Prowlers Pit will be going to a video podcast.
Yeah.
I just got to get my stuff together.
Making sure my videos are looking at my camera.
I thought you were looking to see if the fly landed on the lens.
Yeah, we decided to do video right away. We don't get a whole lot of interaction on YouTube. We get more interaction on, because we're on Spotify, we're on iTunes,
yeah,
we're on iHeartRadio, we're on Spreaker, we're on Castbox. Like almost any place you can get a podcast, we're there.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a name for where I have. I have a Android OnePlus 8 Pro phone, and it's just a bunch of squiggly lines that says, our podcast.
Well, if you have Spotify, the app, if you go on, you can watch our video too. We were one of the first podcasts on Spotify to have video up.
I do have Spotify because I've been working on an album, so I'm roughly my 3rd song in. So eventually, all that's going to be on Spotify.
Yeah, that's some cool shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was bored.
I was bored, so I just made an album.
So,
Yeah. I mean, all the songs are mine. There's no covers. I wrote everything. So, and I got like I mentioned in the last podcast. I have a lot of friends that are musicians, so they have tons of bands. So I'm not short of guitarists, bass players, and everything. So I got all that at my disposal.
well, if you ever need a top quality singer, I'm a good singer.
It's my job.
The thing, here's how good I sing. When I sing on this podcast, we get a copyright strike. Not really.
I actually, for my one friend's band who sung an original, I got a copyright strike.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, I sent them the letter. They took it down. I was like, this is an original from this band.
Cocksuckers. Fuck you, YouTube. Anyway. So we're here today to talk about the movie Prey, which is a Predator prequel. So now, everybody who has listened to the podcast before knows I'm kind of a copious researcher.
No,
So-
you don't research anything.
I want
ever.
to before we get into talking about the movie itself, I'd like to talk about some of the background from the movie. And I'm not talking about the sequels.
Marshall knows the serial numbers on the props.
Yeah, actually, on the Predator head prop, the serial number is no. I'm just kidding. So the director is a Pennsylvania guy. So from Philly, his name is I'm gonna butcher names, dude. Trachtenberg, Dan Trachtenberg. Okay.
We'll go with that.
He also directed 10 Cloverfield Lane, which was the Cloverfield sequel. I don't know if you saw Cloverfield.
No, I seen.
I have a funny story about Cloverfield.
That's the one with where they're in the bomb shelter, right?
It was a lot of it was taped in the found footage style, where someone's carrying a camera, found footage.
Oh, that's the original Cloverfield.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how the original was taped. I don't know. I never saw 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
The funny story about Cloverfield is me and my daughter, who also is a movie buff, the one day I'm, hey, you want to watch a movie? She goes, sure. What do you want to watch? I said, well, I got Cloverfield here. And she goes, well, what kind of movie is it? I said, I don't know. I think it's a spy thriller. Yeah. Not a spy thriller.
Definitely not a spy thriller.
So every movie that we'd watch after that, she goes, well, what kind of movie is this? It's a spy thriller.
Did you watch Paradox? Cloverfield Paradox?
No. The only Cloverfield I watched was the original.
I'm not going to say it's any kind of blockbuster. I mean, still, to me, the first original Cloverfield was the best
Was it
one.
better than 10 Cloverfield Lane? Because I heard a lot of bad stuff about 10 Cloverfield Lane.
What is
Okay, we just talked about this, and we'll talk about it again. Movie critics. Like when I do these beer reviews of all these beers that we reviewed, I'm giving you my opinion. I'm not telling you not to go drink this beer, except for this one right here. Do not drink this beer. The rest of these, there's some in here I didn't like. There's some in here that I like. It's my opinion. Like, I'm not going to have the same taste as you.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to have the same taste as me. Same thing with movies. I hate, no offense, movie critics. The big name.
Fine, I'm
critics.
leaving.
That's it. Fuck this. I didn't come here to get insulted. No, like Rotten Tomatoes. Like a lot of sometimes we'll get a shitty Rotten Tomatoes score. We just talked about this, and I enjoyed the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I'm gonna put this out there, and if you judge me for it, fuck everybody. I liked Waterworld. Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, I can't remember not liking it.
I enjoyed the movie. People shit
I
on
liked
that
when
movie.
he swam underwater and
Yeah.
the whole city was down there.
Yeah. I enjoyed that movie. I looked at it for what it was. It was
Yeah.
supposed to be entertaining. It's not supposed to be real. I also liked the movie he did about the U.S. mail service. Post-apocalyptic. The Postman.
Could it be possible I didn't see it?
Which is actually Waterworld on land. It's the same movie.
Yeah.
It's not very original. The writing might not be the best. I enjoyed the movie.
The water dried up.
I enjoyed the movie for what it was.
Yeah.
Post-apocalyptic. That's a genre that I really like.
Yeah, well, I always liked those. Like,
The original Mad Max. Like, people thought it was a slow movie. I love that
I'm yet to see it.
movie.
I just got disowned.
You are not my son.
Yeah, probably should have kept my mouth shut there.
But here's the thing. I like when he says, I didn't see that. Because he said, I didn't see Predator. I'm like, dude, the original Predator is the ultimate guy movie. It may not be a greatly written movie. There may be inaccuracies in it.
Mhm.
But it is the ultimate guy movie. Guns, explosions, action, cheap high fives with big muscles.
well,
But
that was what the 80s were all about.
there's a lot of backstory to that movie that people don't know, which I find interesting. But when I watched that movie originally, I'm like, this fucking movie's awesome. And I watch it now and I still, this fucking movie's awesome.
That's exactly what his reaction was when I sat down and watched it with him.
Now it's nostalgic and I appreciate the movie.
Yeah.
Originally it was just, I appreciated it. Like, it's fucking awesome.
And you know what? A lot of people my age have this problem where they're so used to the new standard of new movies, big CGI.
90% CGI movies.
Yeah.
I'm not
Avatar?
like that.
Like, I'm not downing Avatar.
Oh no, but
I'm not downing the movie, but it's 90% CGI.
Oh, absolutely.
like I'm not saying I don't enjoy big CGI movies. Like I do. I'll admit I do. But I'm also not saying that I don't enjoy the practical effect movies either.
Love practical.
Because I'm like him. I look at a movie based on when it came out.
It's so much harder to do a practical effect to make it look good than it is to do a CGI. CGI does a lot of work to it. I'm not taking anything away from anybody who does CGI and special effects. I appreciate what they do, but to do a practical effect and make it look like it was CGI, that to me is an art, and it's a dying art.
Well, that's just like yesterday I went and saw an independent film. It has our boy Gene Snitsky in it.
Yeah.
Yep. He plays a great psychopath.
Local boy. He's a local boy.
And you know, it's an independent film, so they don't have the budgets and all that CGI.
Well,
stuff.
pop the name. What's the name?
It's The Beast Comes at Midnight.
The Beast Comes at Midnight. All right. Well, what kind of movie it is? Give me a little breakdown of that quick.
It's a horror movie, but it's still a good amount of comedy in it. So it's kind of a mixture of the two.
A horror com.
Yeah, it's
A horror com.
it's really a tribute to the old classic type horror movies.
I love them.
And
I love B movies too.
I found myself laughing a lot in this movie. It's sarcasm humor, like just sarcasm remarks here and there, and it's just like it just got me. I mean, that's just the kind of guy I am.
And you were there to do a review of that, or?
Yeah, I was invited by Ed McKeever. He's one of the writers for the movie.
Sweet.
He had me come up and tell me what I think. And full disclosure, I've known Ed for a long time, and I'm like, please don't suck. Please don't.
I don't want to tell you your movie sucks.
It's like, because it's a friend. And I sat there, I was pleasantly surprised. I sat there and just the chemistry between the main characters worked out real good. It had a good story to it. I mean, if you haven't seen it and you get the chance, I mean, I know because it's an independent, it's not going to be in theaters everywhere, but if you could see it, definitely.
You know if it's streaming anywhere? Because I'll watch it. I'll watch anything.
Yeah,
I'm sure at some point.
I watched that horror opera.
Because the first
The
one.
Repo Man?
Yeah.
Is that what was it called? It might have been.
Was Sylvester Stallone?
No. It was actually the guy who just died. The mobster guy who just died.
Oh.
He's a classically trained opera singer.
Really?
And he did this movie. He was the evil corporate overlord. What the hell was the name? The podcast I listen to, Barrel Edge Flicks, they did the movie, and they're talking about this, and I'm like, I can't believe I've never seen this movie. And I went back and I watched this movie. I'm like, I can't believe I just watched that movie. It was not horrible, but it was not great.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the freaking name of it. Anyway, but if it's streaming someplace, let me know. I'll watch it.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely see if I can get a link or something to that to see what he's going to do. I mean, his first movie was
I'll pay to watch it. I'll throw my money that way.
100 Acres
He
of
will.
Hell. This one, and
And I know Snitsky was in that one
yeah,
too.
he was the main character in that one. And yeah, he's really putting his best effort forward, and he's putting out some pretty good stuff. And you got to remember, it's an independent film.
Yeah.
So they don't have $100 million to to make everything happen. And some of the visuals on this movie are just beautiful.
So movies, and I love to know what the budget of a movie is before I watch it. I watched 28 Days Later, and I was like, this movie is. I expected so much more.
Yeah.
And then I realized that the budget for that movie was like $2 million, and that was it. And I'm like, let's go back and watch it again. And knowing that it was $2 million, I appreciated the movie much more.
Sure.
Because they did a lot with $2 million. Or whatever the budget was.
Yeah.
I don't want to be held to a number because I could be wrong. But it was a lower budget movie. It was considered a B movie. And it is a good zombie movie.
Well, some people can put out good movies on very low budget. Look at Kevin Smith with the first Clerks movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Now, I'm not a fan, but it's not a bad movie.
No.
Like, that's not my jam. But
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
if it's on, I watch it.
Yeah.
Same thing with The Office. Or Office Space. The original Office Space movie?
Put any more boxes in my office, I'm going to quit movie?
No. That's my stapler. They moved the guy to the basement. Can I take my stapler? You can't take my stapler from me. What was the name of it?
I think we're
Office
talking about
Space.
the same movie.
Office
I
Space.
think we're talking about the same movie.
Where the guy comes in, he just doesn't give a fuck, and they promote him.
Oh, maybe not.
Keep talking, but talk about the movie. I'm going to look it up quick.
But yeah, if you get a chance, definitely get out and check it out. The Beast comes at midnight, and it really does. I mean, it takes place, or filmed, I should say, down in near Tampa, Florida. So it shows a lot of good visuals. It's
That's the movie. Office
basically the
Space.
story. You got a young boy and a young girl, and they're kind of into it. He doesn't quite realize that the girl's into him, but then they go and now they got to take on this werewolf that's killing everybody, but it's not an ordinary werewolf, like, because all werewolves come and, soon as they got a full moon, they'll change. This one, the way they presented it is he changes well before the full moon, but at the full moon is when he's at his strongest.
Okay.
That's a cool take on that.
Like I said, I was pleasantly surprised watching it. Thank God.
Yeah.
So Ed, if you're listening to this, and hopefully you are, you did a great job, man. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, thank God, because I'd hate to have to give a bad review.
I love indie movies. I love them.
Yeah.
I do. Like, some of them are some of the best movies.
Oh, yeah.
Office Space. That's the stapler guy. Jennifer Aniston's in it. She worked at what the hell was the name of the place? It wasn't Shenanigans, but something like that. This dude was in it. He was the main guy.
That's really old.
1999.
Is that the guy in The Office too?
No, not the same guy. See, the main guy and these two guys are disgruntled workers at this place.
Yeah.
And they come up with a plan to skim a penny off of every transaction and put it in a bank account.
I've seen this. I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
And the funny thing is, like, my wife doesn't like these kind of movies. She just does not like them. And the one day I was in the living room, I took a nap. I was falling. I'm old and fall asleep. I wake up, she's watching The Office, and she's laughing. I'm like, how the fuck are you laughing at this? You don't like these kind of movies. Like, I like this movie.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I've watched so many movies. I think I've seen it, but I mean, either it was so long ago.
I think the show The Office was loosely based on Office Space. It's just the drudgery of working in a cubicle.
It's fun,
The TPS report.
it's funny though.
So you never heard the meme about the TPS report?
It's not ringing no bells at the moment.
Jesus, you got to watch that movie, dude. I think you'll laugh your ass off on that movie. Anyway,
Yeah, I think or I don't think, I know it's funny that the building that they always show, like in the office, that's down in Scranton, there's never been a paper building.
that's right. You're from Scranton.
Yeah. That's always been a medical building on top of a parking lot.
Yeah.
Like that parking lot they show in the movie, that's not even in Scranton.
So, back to Prey.
Great.
Is
that too soon?
Too soon, dude. Okay, let's wrap it up. We took on Prey. You go take on the world. So I got him to watch it with me. So the director did 10 Cloverfield Lane. That's where we stopped. He did episodes of Black Mirror, The Boys in 2019, The Lost Symbol in 2021, and the short films Portal, No Escape, More Than You Could Chew, and Warframe. The original working title for this movie was Skulls, because they didn't want to give away the fact that it was a Predator sequel.
Yeah.
So, starring in this movie was Amber Midthunder as Naru. I don't know who Muhammad Al-Baj was, because I didn't find it. I think he was, I'm not sure. Dakota Beaver was Tabe. Michelle Thrust was the mom. Stormy Kip was Sappy. I don't know if I heard his name pronounced in the movie.
What's up?
I don't
I'm
think
pretty
it was.
sure.
Watape?
Or was that?
He was the guy with the rooster head dress.
If they did, it was just brief.
Yeah. Julian Black Antelope was Chief Kehetu, which they don't think they mentioned his name. And Dane L'Allegro played the Predator. So Midthunder is part Nakota Indian, which is from a tribe up in that area, although she lives in Arizona or New Mexico now. Her father was actually on the show Longmire, and she did a small part on Longmire. So Amber's 25 years old. Now she looks like she's 15 in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. At one
17,
point,
18.
she didn't want to be an actor.
Coming of age
Yeah,
type.
yeah. That's how I viewed her. There's a whole coming of age thing for her the whole movie. But she's 25 years old in real life, which I would have never guessed. But if you see her pictures without the Native American garb, you could see she's older than she was portrayed in the movie. At one point, she didn't want to be an actor. She didn't want to follow her mother was a screenplay writer. She didn't want to be an actor. She wanted to be a pro MMA fighter.
Really?
Which I respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course you do.
Prey is her first starring role. She's had roles in movies since 2001. And I'm focusing on her because she was the main character in the movie. And I appreciated her as the main character.
Oh, yeah. I think
I
she
really
did
did.
an excellent job.
Uh,
They all did
the
excellent.
writing and the acting by her,
Mhm.
I thought was really good. I liked it.
And she's lethal with an axe.
Yes. Yes, she is. And I'm going to get to that in part of the questioning I have for you as a film critic. She's got 25 films to her credit, including 2 Liam Neeson films. So she was in The Marksman. She played a gas station clerk. And on The Ice Road, she played Tantu. And I think that was a more prevalent role in the film.
Ice Road. That sounds familiar.
Ice Road Truckers.
Well, it had a similar.
I have not seen either one of those movies, even though both of them are on services that I get. I haven't watched them yet.
Yeah, I've seen both of them. They're both, I don't remember what the scores were, and it's hard to be precise on it. But I remember
I might have seen The Marksman.
Some movies.
I might have seen The Marksman, but I know I didn't see The Ice Road. So she has 7 TV credits, including Longmire, in which her father, David Mid Thunder had a role. She was in Legion. She was in Roswell, New Mexico. And I think that was a reoccurring role for her. And she did a voice role in Long Gone Gulch, which is an animated thing.
I saw that. I didn't think that got picked up. I thought it was just a pilot. I could be wrong.
Well, whatever she had a voice thing in the pilot.
That's cool.
When they were filming this film, there were so many indigenous people and First Nation people working on the film, and they were filming on indigenous lands in Canada. They had 2 pipe carriers and 2 smudge people come to do a ceremony on the set. The pipe ceremony was conducted outside Calgary by local indigenous leaders and attended by Mid Thunder and her co-stars Beaver and Kip, as well as Myers, Tretchenberg, and others, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, me too.
Like
I didn't know that, but
when they filmed this, I think they filmed it in a way that really captured the beauty of the land.
Oh yeah.
And I think because they're indigenous and Native Americans, whatever anybody calls them. If you're offended by me saying Indians, fuck you. I think because they respected that the way I just didn't, I think I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that they respected the traditions of the indigenous culture. I'm not trying to be offensive to anybody, really.
part Cherokee and Indian, so very, 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 very small part.
Well, if I offended you, I am sorry.
I'm offended and I'm leaving.
Bye.
I need a safe space.
I think too many people are offended by things that aren't meant to be offensive.
Yeah.
We did a whole show on that.
You need to lock them in the room and make them watch Andrew Dice Clay for 3 months.
Just 2 minutes. Jesus.
They're either coming out stronger or in a ball.
So the movie was set 300 years ago in 1719 in the Comanche Nation. So they were supposed to be Comanche, but they filmed it on what was her tribe? She's native. Naratu? What was her? I know I had it here. Oh, Nakota. They filmed this on native Nakota land, so they don't call it a reservation in Canada because that's offensive.
Yeah.
But basically, they filmed it on Nakota res. Most of it, not all of it, but that was the location filming. So the only other thing I wanted to bring up about the cast is the dog.
Oh, the puppy.
So the idea of giving her a dog was inspired by Mad Max 2.
Really?
Yes. So the dog was, they call it a Carolina dog, also known as a yellow dog or American dingo or a Dixie dingo. The dog's name was Coco. It was adopted and trained specifically for the film. Now, they had no plans of having the dog as much in the film as it was, but it had trained so well and become so connected to the actors.
Mm-hmm.
Like they said, let's just keep putting it in because people are going to love this.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So the basis was Naru wanted to prove herself as a hunter because nobody in the tribe thought she could do it. Yep. That was the premise of the film. Filmed on location in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Kanaka? What's Kanaka?
At Raffer 6 Ranch and Stony Nakota First Nation. Shooting was supposed to begin in May of 2021. It was delayed for a month. They wrapped in September, so it was like 4 months of shooting. Which I think 4 months of shooting for this film is freaking amazing.
Oh yeah, I was about to say that sounds short. Like
that's that's not many takes.
No,
you're sitting there, you're hitting it almost every time.
Yeah, well, they filmed this entirely outdoors and used all natural light whenever they could.
Mm-hmm.
I think something I read said that there was a sweet spot which was right after sunrise and right before sunset where they were getting the best light, and that's when they did most of their filming.
Nice.
Now, this is the stuff that interests me. This is the minutia that has to go through my head. the film was shot to give imagery to pure nature and give the ultimate respect to the natural landscape, which I think they did.
They achieved
Even
that for sure.
in the scenes where it's supposed to be like ugly nature, like in the mud pit,
It was beautiful.
it was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Oh yeah.
It was beautiful. So now we could get into the movie. Now that I did a little background, I got my nut off. So John will tell you that I am obsessive about researching things. I want to know more than just what I saw and what I felt, what I experienced. I want to know why. I want to know anything that happened. Like if you look at Predator 1,
Mhm.
some of the stuff that happened while they were filming it is just as interesting to me as the film. So
Don't go on about it.
I'll talk about that at the end.
Do you know who played Predator in Predator 1? At least a portion.
Don't know his name off the top of my head. I do know, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, that's true. He did. It was actually for one scene. He played Predator for one scene, and it was almost cut out. But that's the kind of minutia that I like to do.
Yeah. I didn't know it was almost cut out.
It was almost cut out, but he did it for one scene, and it was a non-credited role, and it was actually disputed for a long time whether it was actually him or not. And there was someone else in that film, man, I wish I could remember, that was not credited, and for a long time they said, I'm not sure if it was him or not, and it came out that it was. And I can't remember who it was, so I just said that all for nothing. I thought I'd keep saying it would come out, but
Yeah. Like something would trigger another memory and
yeah.
like, oh yeah.
So let me get your first impressions of the plot of the movie.
I thought the plot was solid. I mean, you start off with a young girl. Like I said, she's like coming of age, and it's back in, this not prehistoric time, but a good time in the past where everybody had their role.
Yeah.
Women are going to be healers in there. They're going to be cooks. They're going to be, make all the clothes and everything. Everybody's got a role. No one's less, no one's higher, but then you got the males that are going to go out and do the hunting. They're going to, risk their lives and stuff. And here was a time, which everybody should get behind this, especially all those people that are out there that are always saying, there's not enough female heroes. This is a female hero. And she does an amazing job.
And one of the things I think they did with this film, with the female hero, for the female main character, is they didn't have to force it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was about to say, like so many movies nowadays, it's they're the hero. They do the hero thing and win the day, and they're the hero just to be the hero. But in this, there is a legitimate.
Yeah, we're going to change the whole comic book history to make it a female character now because we need more females.
Mhm.
But here they built a female character.
Yep.
They didn't force it, and I could see someone in her position wanting to prove that she could do something because she could.
Yeah.
She could actually do it.
Yep.
She was good at what she did.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
And even her brother would say, well, she's a good tracker. You're going to want her with us.
Or she
Yeah.
could see the angles of things he couldn't.
Right. Well, he finally admitted that at the end.
The chemistry between her and her brother was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You
very
could-
well written.
Yeah, because I have a son and a daughter, and I could see that dynamic.
Yep.
Where the older one, who happens to be my daughter, always wants to prove to him that she can do stuff that he can't, but never discourages him completely. We'll make jabs, but never discourages him completely that you can't do it. She'll make jabs to kind of, I say, lift you up by putting you down.
Mhm.
She'll take jabs at him like, hey, blah 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 blah, but it's all an effort to get him to try harder to overcome it.
Yep.
So like I have an older sister, same thing for me. Like, although me and my older sister didn't always get along, we fist fighted, we broke each other's noses.
Threw her through some glass.
I threw her through a glass window, but that's all for naught.
Well, I think some people are just built that way. I mean, one of my biggest things when I got into pro wrestling was all the people telling me I couldn't. Like,
Right.
I didn't have that support. There was like maybe a handful of people that said, yeah, you got this. Everybody else, nah, you're you're too fat, you're too big, you're not big enough, you know, you got back problems, you got this, you ain't gonna be able to do it. Now that fueled me.
Right.
Because this is something I loved, I was passionate about, and I really wanted to do it. You ain't gonna sit there and tell me I can't do it.
Right. Right. And so the dynamic between them is great, just like you said. Is it Tabe? Tabe. He was a protective brother at the same time as being an encourager, at the same time as saying know your place.
Mm-hmm.
Like he did all three at one time, and I think only a brother could do that.
Yeah, 100%.
You gotta love the scene, right, where he shoots the bird out of the sky.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That is a classic brother sister moment if there ever was one.
She's sitting there like this, and did you notice how they hold their bow?
Yeah, upside down.
They grab it up, and I'm sure there's a reason for that. It's probably a power or something. Like when I shoot archery, so like I always pull it like this, and when I see him holding it like this, it was like awkward to me. But she's holding it, and he's telling a story, and the whole time, like she's trying to pay attention to him.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying to be a good sister. She's trying to be, learn something, and then he just takes his bow, and goes, like, motherfucker.
But then she owns him in the end. It's like, well, now you got to cross the river to get it.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the bird to come back.
Don't get your bow wet. Yeah, that was a great scene. I mean,
I loved it.
The dynamic was great there, and the fact that they mentioned don't get your bow wet. Like he had just told a story about with his dad, he got his bow wet, blah 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 blah,
Yeah.
and you think right then when she says it, don't get your bow wet, that she's talking about the story he just told.
Mhm.
But it foreshadows something that happens later in the movie,
Oh, yeah.
which all good writing does.
Yes.
Nothing should be placed in the writing that doesn't culminate as part of the story in the end.
Yep.
And that eventually did. In when we get to our favorite scenes, I'm going to ask you what your favorite scene. I'm going to ask you what your favorite scene was. That is my favorite scene when her boat gets wet. But we'll get there. So, Nathan, your first impressions of the movie.
So, I'm very new to the Predator series universe.
He's 1 week old.
Yeah, I had a cousin who was huge into it, and I went up and I stayed up there where they live, and couldn't have a conversation with them without hearing about Predator or Alien. So
He has not seen Alien.
Oh my god,
I know a lot. I know some things about it because of him.
That's like un-American.
So maybe in
Next thing you're going to tell me you don't like pizza.
Oh no, he likes pizza.
I love pizza.
We could talk about where the best pizza that we've ever had comes from. Where is it, Nathan?
Angelo's
in
Philly.
South Philly. I have, and I would drive down there just for pizza.
Really?
Yes, and I hate Philly. Continue, Nathan.
But yeah, you couldn't go, like, you couldn't have a conversation with him without hearing about Predator or Alien. So going in, I knew a few things about it just because of talking to that one cousin. But I had watched
when we watched them this week, we watched them kind of in order.
kind of.
In the last 2 weeks, I should say. We watched Predator. We then watched Predators 2. We then watched Prey.
Right, and
And then we
went-
watched Predators. Now, there's supposed to be a fourth one.
Are you talking about the one where?
I think it might be a fan film, but I'm not sure.
No, there's the one where he comes and he's actually trying to bring a super suit. So we have something to fight with. There's like a Arnold Schwarzenegger of predators that come and start hunting. Because you had the original, you had the one with Danny Glover.
Yes.
Then there was Aliens versus Predator.
Yeah, AVP, I count them, but I don't count them as
Yeah.
part of the Predator series.
Mhm.
So you had AVP, you had AVP Requiem, and then you had Predators.
Yeah, that has to be the one where, it takes place a lot in a school.
Well, no, the Predators is the one where they drop them in on parachutes onto another planet, and they fight against the Predators.
Did I-
I liked all the movies.
Okay, so there's one here called The Predator.
That's more recent. That's
Okay, I have not seen that one.
2018.
So the 2018 one I have not seen. So we'll have to look for that and watch that yet.
Yeah, I think
So
that might be the one where you got a predator coming to Earth, and well, if you didn't see it, I'll be giving away stuff, and I don't want to spoil it for you.
So there's Predators 2, AVP, this is chronologically, AVP Requiem, Predators in 2010, and The Predator in 2018, which I have not seen.
We'll have to watch that together then.
Yeah, so we'll see that together for the first time. And then there's Prey, which is a prequel.
And I loved Prey. Like, my first impression, like, the hunting, like, I thought the concept, like, now, I had been watching Predator movies for a week before we watched Prey, so I don't have the years of experience in enjoying the franchises. You will both do. But I thought just the concept of an early visit or one of the first visits, maybe, I don't really know.
So the movie is sold as the first visit of the Predators to Earth. But it's not.
It's not.
It cannot be.
Yep.
For two reasons, and I'm going to get there in the next little segment we're doing. But
I'm curious to see if your reasoning is the same as my reasoning.
I have two reasons. So go ahead.
But I thought the idea of it in general was just cool. After seeing the other ones and seeing Predator with this high-tech technology, like, how are they going to make an interesting movie that just isn't the Predator going on a slaughter fest? More so than usual.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. Like, early on, the introduction, of course that's going to be slow, like, that's what the introduction's for, but after you get past that, there's not really a dull moment. Like, every moment in the movie is working up to the next thing.
Mm-hmm. It was built very well. So, my first impression is I felt this movie was done excellently.
Yes.
As someone who hates reboots and doesn't have a whole lot of love for sequels, I love this one. It had a good hero arc, which you don't see a whole lot. It wasn't too complicated. The story was very solid. There was very few holes in the story. There was some, but there wasn't.
I could pick apart any movie.
And they made the female hero out. They made a female hero without it being forced.
Yes,
absolutely.
And you see too many movies
and very
today
believable.
where they force it. Very believable. I could see a young girl in this situation wanting to prove herself to her tribe and her brother specifically, and especially since her brother was so well revered in the tribe because he became the war chief.
Yeah.
So to be at that level, that means something.
Mm-hmm.
So his sister, obviously only being a couple years younger than him, is always going to be competing with that. Mm-hmm. I see that every day with my own children. I saw that with me and my sister. So, like, it's not uncommon. They stuck to the premise of the Predators where they won't attack someone who's helpless or not worthy of the fight.
Yeah.
Which you've seen in almost every one of the movies. Now, I don't know about The Predator because I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
But all the rest of the movies, they alluded to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the first one,
which led to some nice twists in this movie because it had you second guessing for a minute when you saw certain things.
Yeah.
Then you're like, oh, okay, I see.
In the first one, it was the woman in the jungle. It didn't kill her because she didn't have a weapon. She was a prisoner.
Mm-hmm.
In the second one, it was the pregnant police officer, where he wouldn't attack her because she was pregnant.
Yeah.
In the third one, I don't know if there was an example of that.
I can't quite remember, but there was.
Well, that doctor, the serial killer, the serial killer guy in the third one, didn't seem like a threat until he was.
Yeah.
So he kind of skated by because he never held a weapon. He was a psychological threat more than a physical threat.
Yes.
Because from the whole movie on, you're like, what the fuck is this doctor doing here? Why is he here? Why is there a surgeon here? That doesn't make... Oh, he's a serial killer? I get it. So
Well, that's one of the parts that I like with the Danny Glover one. It's at the end, you see all the other Predators. They could have all killed him, but there's like some kind of honor.
but there was an honor code. He
Yes.
proved himself an honorable fighter.
Yeah.
Therefore, he could live.
Yes.
And they gave him the gun.
Which brings me to another question I have for you later. When I had posted on your thing, you had said about, did you see the Easter egg?
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, did you see the nods to all the past movies?
I really only seen two things.
Okay.
I seen where the one guy goes, if it bleeds, it can be killed.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's from the first one.
That's Tabe says that in this one.
And then, like I kind of just already spoke about, when she's given the gun.
Yes.
It's the same gun that the Predator gives to Danny
So
Glover.
that's an Easter egg.
Yeah.
It is a nod to the past movies, but that's an Easter egg.
That's a nod to a future movie.
Yeah, actually, I think so too.
Yeah,
I hope so. And I hope
Definitely.
they put that one in. This one should have been in the theaters. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely.
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 This one looks like it should have been built for theaters.
Yes.
I've said it. I believe I said it in my review, and it's always been my opinion. This seems to be, to me, as of right now, the best Predator movie that they put out.
You did say that. I disagree. Slightly. Only because you wouldn't have this one if you didn't have the original.
Yeah.
I am a strong proponent of the original movies.
If it's not better than the first one,
It's just
as good as
Yeah.
the first one.
I would say it's on par. I would always raise the original that much higher. Like, it's got to be that much better because
Bias.
it is biased. Part of it's biased.
It's all opinion.
Part of it's because I was 17 when the first one came out. And, well, so were you.
Yeah.
And,
And you had all these action heroes that you've seen in other movies,
right,
but not together.
right.
Almost like that's the Expendables for that time.
But there was things about that movie that I freaking love. Billy's death is iconic.
Oh yeah, when he's standing on top of the tree.
Right. And he takes off his shirt and he cuts his chest.
Yep.
But did you see there's a nod to that in this movie? There's also a nod to 1 and 3 in this movie with the mud. She falls in the mud. You think she's, like, everybody sees the mud,
Yeah.
and they say in the first one he used mud.
Yeah,
In the
I
third,
thought that was going to lead to that.
in the third one he used mud. And I thought, well, okay, she's gonna mask her body temperature with mud again. It makes sense. They did it in the other movies. But she didn't. She used the mud for something else, which was cool.
Yeah.
The fact that she used herbs to mask the body temperature with some kind of herb that lowered the body temperature. But they teased the mud at the beginning of the movie when she fell in the pit.
Yes. They make you think
Yes.
it's going to be for the body
Yeah.
temperature.
So to me, that's a nod to the previous movies.
Yeah.
Royce did the same thing in the 2010 Predator. Eventually, he went back to primitive weapons, and that's how he killed him. Arnold Schwarzenegger went to primitive weapons. That's how he killed him. This young lady, Naru, primitive weapons, sort of. That's how he killed him. Primitive weapons and superior thinking.
I
Yeah.
did think though that they did a pretty good job. They just didn't bring it back in time, but they downgraded the Predator just enough in weaponry too.
And I want to talk about that then too, because I'm wondering if that was. We'll do it now because I still have like 2 more things that are nods to the other movies.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if I have looked at all the Predator movies now because we just recently watched it. They're all fresh for me except for The Predators or The Predator or whatever. All of the movies, it seemed that the Predator used the force commensurate to what was used against him or what they had to use against him. So in the first one, they had machine guns, so he had the laser cannon.
Mhm.
In the second one, they had guns and machine guns. He used the laser cannon.
Yep.
In the first one, he had the explosive atomic 300 city block, but Arnold Schwarzenegger was 100 feet away and didn't get killed. He had that.
But he jumped on the hill.
And then he was safe. The second one, they tried to use it. He cut his arm off and took it and dropped it down. So you don't know what it was capable of. In this one, he had the arm thing and it brought up 3 drones, which were explosive. So, where was the shoulder cannon? Now, I would say that the weapons in this one were so primitive that it was not fair for him to use a shoulder cannon. So he did, on the honor code, he didn't use a shoulder cannon. You got it, bro.
Well, if you notice, I don't think there even was one.
There was none.
He didn't have the armor that the previous ones
But
have.
I think because
and that's why he had the arrows.
Yes, but they still had the technology to fly from planet to planet.
Yeah.
They still had the technology to bend light.
Yeah.
All the other technology is the same. I think they were.
I'm calling that out right now. That's just cheating.
I thought the same thing. I was going to say the thing. I actually wrote it down and deleted it. You know why I deleted it? Because I hunt deer in a tree stand with camouflage on, with archery. Okay. Is that cheating?
Yeah, but you're hunting for food.
Doesn't matter.
He's hunting for trophies.
It doesn't matter why the hunt is done. It's how it's done. He did it with a technology that he readily had, but he did not use laser cannons. He used arrows as projectiles. And I think that is a key to this movie, to say that he only fights equal force with equal force according to his technology. Like, of course he's going to have technology they don't have.
Yeah. Even in Predators, where we know they have the cannon.
Yeah.
But when the one dude comes out with the sword, he doesn't use the
cannon. He doesn't use the cannon, he uses a sword.
So even
so the Yakuza guy in the field, who was also a nod to the Billy death, took his shirt off, cut his chest in the middle of the field. It's a nod to the Billy death. I think that's one of the most iconic deaths never seen on screen, because they don't show Billy's death.
You just hear him scream.
You just hear him scream. And I think in this one they gave a respectful nod to that with
Spider-Man's underneath the
Wasabi.
Under the tree.
How do we say his name was pronounced?
Huh?
Wasabi, the guy with the rooster tail head. I think with his death, I think they gave a sort of nod to that, where he jumped over the thing. He knew the Predator was there. He jumped over the thing and went and stood toe to toe with him. Yeah. And I think that was like a respectful nod to Billy's death, and a respectful nod to the Yakuza guy's death in the third one.
I thought the fight choreograph there was beautiful.
Oh, yes.
You know,
yes.
You had, and you think about it, back then, the only real job for the males were to be hunters, to be fighters.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they trained to do, and they were in perfect sync with each other.
I think all of these fight scenes were done very well.
Very fluid, very natural.
Now, I don't know how natural it would be, but it was very fluid, because as a professional wrestler, I know that no fight goes the way a wrestling match would go.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm throwing punches and you're throwing punches, there's going to be some fucked up looking punches.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. But on film, this was beautiful. All of these fight scenes were beautiful. The other nod to the past movies was a nod to Dutch, when Dutch said, "Come on, do it, do it." Naru said, "Come on, come on, come on, do it." They were trying to get him to come in their trap.
I didn't even catch on to that.
Yeah. That's like when she did that, I'm like, oh my God, that's Dutch.
Yeah.
Like, so that Dutch is Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in the first one.
Yeah.
There is one sort of like kind of maybe a nod, but this is kind of a stretch. But I remember we talked about it when we watched it at the end when they show the three other ships.
Not there yet.
Okay, never mind.
Go ahead.
The end when they show 3 other ships coming in.
That's a nod to the second movie,
where they say they always come in groups of 3.
So in the second movie, after Danny Glover kills the Predator, 3 ships land. And then the captains from 3 ships come out and confront him. And that's where he gets the pistol.
Mm-hmm.
The pistol that is seen in this movie.
Yep.
Now, in the comic books, the pistol has a different origin. Did you know that?
No, I never read the comic books.
Okay, the comic books.
There's comic books.
Yes, there are. In the comics, the pistol's origin was a pirate captain. And he had a treasure, and his crew had stolen treasure from a church, and the captain said, "No, that treasure belongs to the church, you give it back. I will not defile a church." And he says, "If you keep that treasure, I'm no longer your captain." And they said, okay, you're no longer our captain. They try to kill him. While they're trying to kill him, this Predator is there. And in the end, it's just him and the Predator at the end. And they both kind of kill each other. And that's where that guy was, whatever name was on the pistol, Raphael Antonelli, whatever the hell it is. But that's the name that's on the pistol was that guy. And that was 4 years prior to this movie. So now in this movie, the person who had the pistol that was inscripted to was the guy who lost the one leg and she helped, the guy who could speak the other language.
Yeah.
So in this canon, it was him, but in the comic book, it was a pirate captain. So I have some mild issue with that. I honestly, it doesn't bother me that much. I was not a fan of the comic. I don't have I'm a comic book junkie, but I don't have that comic, so I'm not, it's got to be that way. But it is in the comic, so since it was already put on paper, I'd like for them to follow that. But I get the poetic license of changing it to meet the movie, because obviously there's going to be a number 2.
Yeah.
If they don't make a second Prey, fuck them.
I will be moderately
It's already
upset.
If I remember reading right, I believe they're already in talks to making it a TV show.
A TV show.
Okay.
If I read it right.
All right.
You know, and sometimes I do blow by things a little too fast and don't get, the whole thing on it. But I was like, well, that'd be interesting, because there was definitely one where they were talking about it's already been greenlit for another one.
Good.
Whether they're going to go back to the original when they first came here, because I don't know if you want to get into that.
Well, we can get into it now, because in Predator 2, you see the skulls and the trophies that he has in the ship, and one's a T-Rex skull. Like, it's obvious there's a T-Rex skull, there's a Veloster skull, and then there was other skulls, and then they showed all the human skulls. But the first skull they showed when they showed Danny Glover in his trophy room was a T-Rex skull. So they can't say this is the first time they've been here. But if you go back to the first line of the movie, the first line of this movie, she said several years ago, something had come.
Yeah, and she saw the ship come,
Well,
she called it a Thunderbird.
Right, the Thunderbird is a legendary Native American thing.
But
top of the towers.
All the totem poles.
She's describing to the rest of the Prepsmen about Predator, when she's trying to describe the Predator,
she says a name. She says the name of a creature when she's describing it.
Like a moon beast or something.
Yeah. So the first line of the movie or the first paragraph, let's say, she says something had come several years ago, and alluding to it's returned now.
Now, when I first heard that, because there's a lot of, when you get into those movies, there's a lot of stories. Could be gossip, could be folklore. Folklore. And, stories that are brought up. So maybe they're true, maybe they're not. But when the Colonials came and they weren't here for hunting buffalo or whatever like that, they were hunting that predator. So in order for them to be hunting that predator, they had to know the predator would come at some point. So there's no way that predator just got there.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that, but I did. I get her saying that something had been here before, and then she called the creature something specific. I don't remember what it was. She said, "I saw a blah 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 blah," and then she the first time she described it as a Thunderbird, she saw the fire in the sky, which is a Thunderbird, and the second time she described it as a certain creature.
Yeah, I've seen the sign.
When she was in the woods with the other Native Americans, when they were beating the shit out of her, when actually she was beating the shit out of them until she got punched in the mouth. She said, "I saw and he goes, "Oh, you saw a fairy tale. You saw a child's story."
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Because
she said the name of something there. I don't remember what it was, but so it alludes to the fact that
they've been there before.
In recent
history. within like their parents' lifetimes, maybe, because it's something that stories that they tell their children.
Tell me when she grabbed that guy in that Hurricane Rana type move. Tell me you didn't think of Black Widow.
Oh, yeah.
That was Black Widow right there.
Dude, I was loving it. But the funny thing is she wanted to be an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
So she was doing some MMA moves there.
Yeah, and the way they do it just wasn't up and down, too. They spun her, and that was just so well done.
But she did it to the Predator, too. Got up on his shoulders and was flatching him with the hatchet.
Yeah.
And I love the way she tied that rope to her hatchet to return it back to her quickly. Now, they showed it in the story for a certain reason, so she could get it back quickly. She realized that it was taking too much time to get her hatchet back, so she could hunt. But then they used it later to get her out of the bog, which led into her trap for the Predator at the end. Yeah. So absolutely excellent storytelling.
Yeah, all the ducks were lined up in a row, man.
Everything led into the next.
You didn't see it until it happened.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I get it.
When I seen her get trapped there, I figured somehow she's going to use this. As soon as I see it coming up and they focused on it, somehow this is going to be part of her trap. I instantly thought that. I didn't know how she was going to do it, and the way she did it was so clever. It was just like,
well, when they first show the mud, they allude to masking body temperature with the mud.
Yeah.
Like that's what your mind originally goes.
As someone who's seen the other movies, yes.
Yeah. And then when you see the hatchet, like she's going to use it for something. There's a reason why she's doing it.
Yeah.
But when they show her get out of the mud, it's like, okay, I get it, But the whole thing was directing towards the Predator getting caught in the same spot that she was at with no way to get out. And I just think that was good storytelling.
Very good.
As far as the story goes, they did something very unique that I haven't really seen a lot of. You know how a lot of movies, they'll either speak in a native tongue and you get closed caption. You'll read it. Or we're just assume they're speaking in their native tongue, but we're hearing it in English because it's a made in America.
Right.
They did a unique thing of talking in their native language, then going into that.
Well, they started off, the first line was in Comanche. If you go on HULU, you can get a Comanche dub. And you can watch the whole thing in Comanche.
Really?
Yes. Which I didn't realize till the end, but I thought that was cool as shit.
Oh, yeah, that's epic.
Yeah, usually it's Spanish, English, whatever.
Yeah, but
they have a Comanche dub of the movie.
I haven't met or seen many people online talking bad about, but there are some. And that goes, different things for different people. But that was, they're speaking perfect English. That's by design. They're setting it up so you can understand, but they're setting it up. They do it through the whole movie. Or just when they go
except when the French were there. So they're giving you the story from the Comanche point of view. And so when the French are talking, you hear French. Like you hear mumbo jumbo French.
Yeah.
I give up. That's all I hear. Yeah. But so as from the Comanche point of view, she didn't hear English until the Frenchman spoke Comanche to her and said, I speak many languages. Yeah. Everything else that the Frenchmen are saying, I didn't understand a fucking word they said because it's French, and I gave up on that language.
But that's one of the things I was talking about. Like, you can hear her talking in Comanche. And then that's when he says, I speak many languages. Now he's speaking in Comanche, even though he's speaking perfect English.
Right.
That's by design. I thought that was
I thought it was brilliant. I liked it.
Based on whoever's perspective that scene is from,
you
hear them in English, and everyone else.
If you were seeing that whole scene from a French perspective, you would hear the French and English and Comanche.
Yeah.
And I thought that was brilliant.
Yes,
I enjoyed it. I liked it.
I enjoy it when movies.
Anybody who bitches about that, fuck you.
Yeah, you're wrong. Get out. Actually, don't get out. Keep
martial law said you're fucking wrong.
Go back and watch every single one of these episodes, ever.
Yeah,
10 times.
Yeah,
and share it with your friends. But still, you're wrong.
And check out Prowlers Pit.
Smash the link.
So with the Easter eggs. So now the first comment I made to you was my son and I watched this good movie. You said, did you see the Easter egg? And I'm like, did you mean the flintlock? Yes.
Yeah, you got it right off the bat.
So the flintlock is an Easter egg, but there were a couple other Easter eggs. How long? Okay, in the credits, the first part of the credits is basically a storyboard of the movie. They show it in cartoon form, the whole movie from front to back, and then you see the final scene where she becomes the war chief, and then there's one more scene after that. Shows 3 ships and lightning coming in from the sky. And they're standing there as she's being awarded war chief, and they turn their heads up. Because there wasn't much movement in the final credits in the cartoon part.
Yeah.
Except when she was doing something. When she was throwing the axe. When she threw it to get out of the thing. You see it come out, like, cartoon-wise. So now, where do you think that next movie, where do you think those 3 Predator ships come from? They come right after she becomes war chief, or is it a couple of years after? Is that how they get the pistol back? Or how they get the pistol in the first place? Because that pistol's given away in the future.
Yeah, but that's going to be a thing, because I remember they only come so often. They don't come all the time.
Hold on. When Danny Glover killed the Predator, 3 ships came in. Those 3 captains came up to him, 3 captains of the ship came up to him, gave him the pistol. Like, on honor code, like we said before. So now this time, she killed the Predator. 3 ships come in. Now do those 3 captains come down and she offers them the pistol as part of the honor code? Or do they offer her something else and she says...
I would think they would offer her a trophy.
Well, they offer her a trophy, and as a Native American, you give something, you get something. You get something, you give something.
That is true.
So she gives them because at some point they get that pistol back.
Yeah, somehow.
And they give it to Danny Glover.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
No matter whether it was a pirate or the guy who spoke many languages.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who it came from. At that point, Danny Glover gets it back.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your theory on how... I'm asking you to film theory the next movie.
I just think it's going to leave it open for something else to occur. I mean, she does such a great job, and I think they want her in the next one.
But they have to have it in the next one. They have to.
Unless they go to a different time period.
Well, if you go by that storyboard, they come right after she becomes war chief. As soon as she becomes war chief, she holds up the thing. Like, if you watch the end credits, she holds up the thing, turns, and you see the 3 ships coming in.
Yeah.
And it's like immediate. So I think those 3 ships come down right away.
Oh yeah, they have to come and get his.
I don't know what happens from there. I feel that they honor her with a gift, and because she's Native American, she honors them with a gift. The gift would be the flintlock. Or the chief honors them with a gift with a flintlock.
Yeah.
That's how I think they get it.
That's quite possible.
Which would wrap up all the other movies. Now they can do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
Now with the next Prey 2, they could do whatever they want after that point. After they do that point, they don't have to make any other connection. Now, they can. There's other connections they can make. But there really is no need. They can build that story from there to eternity.
Sure. Yeah.
Which I like, which is good writing.
Forward. There's a huge gap in between then and
87.
Stallone,
yeah.
Or
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. Also, Stallone. Rocky comes in. Hey yo.
Well,
what you coming here for?
You were an ugly motherfucker.
I probably should have said this earlier, but I thought of it before the podcast as something that I wanted to say, and then when we started talking, I completely forgot, so I'm going to get this out now because it's long after the fact that I should have said it. But I think the fact that they called the movie Prey is very clever. Not just the fact that it's like, oh, it's the next Predator movie, but like, because...
You would assume someone that advanced coming to Earth to hunt would make them prey.
Sure, but the Predator in this movie was the prey.
Yes.
Towards the end, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
that absolutely.
I think that was clever.
That is clever.
Yeah.
I actually didn't think of it that way until you just said that. Because she turned the Predator into the prey.
I think another, we can only speculate, but I think another reason for that is to give it something new.
Yeah.
So there are people ain't there. Just another Predator.
Well, I will tell you, if it was just another Predator movie, I probably wouldn't go see it in the theater. I'd wait till it was streaming someplace, and I would try to watch it for free because I am not a fan of sequels. I'm not a fan of reboots. I'm not a fan of sequels.
I would have gone to see this in the theater.
No, even seeing it twice now, I would go to a theater to watch it right now.
So would I.
Oh, yeah. Plus, I got the Regal Unlimited. I can go see as much movies as I want, as many times as I want.
I'm probably going to movies tomorrow. He goes to therapy.
Yeah.
I take him down. I drive over to Palmyra. I watch a movie for 2 hours. I sit at Iron Hill Brewery for an hour, and I go pick him up.
Oh, so while I'm in the sweatshop,
Yeah.
you came back.
So I just want to touch on this. There are some inconsistencies in the movie that doesn't make it a bad movie. It just makes it a little bit inaccurate. So because I am a research fanatic. In 1719, my research says the Comanches were mid to northern Texas, southern Kansas, and eastern New Mexico. They portrayed this as upper Midwest. So the Comanche weren't there at that time of year, at that time in history.
Well, I thought that there were the Dakotas.
Well, the Dakota is where they filmed. They were Comanche Indians, and they were saying they're supposed to be in the Great Northern Plains.
Because there's a bunch of tribes that were up that border.
Yeah, but the Comanche weren't. So they were saying Northern Great Plains for the location of the story.
Yeah.
But the Comanche weren't there at that time in history. They were more south. They eventually did go up there, but they were more south. I find all that odd because the producers gave the cast and crew binders full of information so they could make things as historically accurate as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But so why not just make it in northern Texas or southern Kansas or eastern New Mexico? Probably because they didn't have the mountains and the trees there, and they wanted that foliage as part of the movie. I would say, why not change the timeline then? Because nobody cares if it was 1719 or 1801. I care. I care.
I mean, one thing I have to definitely give them props on was their cast.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
One of the things I hate PC cast.
I hate PC casting too.
You know, they don't have to be, but at least you better look the part. Like The Rock can play so many different parts.
Yeah.
I had no problem with him playing Hercules and that because he can look the part. Play
You
the
mean
part.
Hercules?
Hercules. But yeah, that's one of my biggest gripes. That DC is, one of the biggest culprits of it. They're too worried about pleasing just a certain individual.
Well, Marvel is now too.
Yeah. Well, Marvel did it a little bit, but they mainly stayed.
Well, they changed Captain Marvel from a man to a woman.
Well, they did that a long time ago.
I'm just saying. Like,
because the original, what happened is in 1967, Marvel was able to obtain the trademark for the name Captain Marvel. Because this other company, MF Enterprises, was able to pick it up because Fawcett Comics could no longer put out the original Captain Marvel. They agreed to keep it away. And so they put out this character called Captain Marvel where he yelled split and his arms and legs would come out of it. So what it did do is Marvel formed by then and said, well, if there's going to be a Captain Marvel, we're going to have it. So they got the trademark by the end of 1967. And then they have to produce something or they're going to lose the trademark, just like Fawcett did. And that's when they came up with Captain Marvel. They did that for a short time. Then they brought in Monica Rambeau. She was the next Captain Marvel. Then it went to Danvers, Carol Danvers, and it kind of stayed there. But there's been a whole bunch because they kind of kept trying to make characters up so they wouldn't lose the trademark.
okay, I get it. But still PC.
Yep. But the original Captain Marvel is from Fawcett Comics, and he's not Shazam. That character is a magic-based solely. He's just a wizard. That is just a joke made by Jeff Johns.
I love Shazam.
Do you? I hate that character.
Well, there was a 70s TV
I love Captain.
There was a 70s TV show, Shazam.
The name of the TV show was Shazam, but the hero inside was Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yep.
Yes.
I have the whole series. And the whole reason it was called Shazam, the same thing, because in the early 1970s, DC wanted to try to see if they can recapture the love they had for Captain Marvel, because Captain Marvel was out selling Superman and everything. That's why they sued them, really. It wasn't because of anything they did or he looked too much like Superman. They were beating him. So in the 50s, where comic books started dropping and they were tired of this constant court battle, they just said, listen, we won't do it no more. Here's like $200,000, leave us alone. So in the 70s, they decided to see if they can recapture it. So they went to Fawcett Comics, they leased the rights to all the characters. And they got all 12 comics. And the name of the title on the comics is what one magic word, Shazam, exclamation point. But in a subtitle, it said the original Captain Marvel.
Huh.
Marvel sued them and won because they had an you cannot advertise, you don't have a trademark to advertise with that name. But inside that comic, inside the TV show, and everything up to 2011, he was always been Captain Marvel.
Wow. I watched the Shazam show. Like, I remember seeing it. I never put that together.
I tried telling you.
I don't remember the whole thing, but
I tried telling you one day that
I don't listen to
that
you.
I was pretty sure Captain Marvel was DC at one point.
Well, he's DC now. He was Fawcett Comics originally.
But Captain Marvel is Marvel now.
Well, for that Captain.
Yeah.
They have a Captain Marvel, and like I said, they had multiple. So they came on.
Well, we were watching the original Spider-Man when he goes up on the roof. He's trying to figure out how his Webbers work.
Tobey Maguire's Spider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which is, I like. I don't care what anybody says. Anyway, he's doing like Go-Go Gadget,
Yeah.
and then he goes Shazam.
It was a nice nod.
Yeah. So anyway, with Prey, what's your favorite scene?
I've had this one locked and loaded
Okay.
You
Go ahead. You go first.
for days.
I'd like so many. So
Nathaniel, what is your favorite scene?
My favorite scene is when Predator has her cornered and he has his shield knife and he goes to get her and it gets caught in the rocks.
Yeah.
And there's a struggle and she reaches up and grabs one of his
His
mandibles, rips it off
and stabs him with it. That's good.
That was my favorite scene.
Yeah, we both popped for that one. We both popped for it. Although my favorite scene is much different.
I would have to say my favorite scene, because it's, being a wrestler with fight pornography, that scene where she's tied up and she's got to get free and all the guys are fighting the Predator and they're in sequence with each other, fighting so good. That's probably got to be the biggest pop.
I would put that scene on par with the scene with her and her brother in the French camp fighting. I thought that. But my favorite scene is when, with the bear. She takes a shot at the bear. Her bow's wet, which was alluded to earlier.
Yeah.
And the bear comes out. The dog runs off, pulls the bear away from her. The dog comes back because the bear turned on him. And then she's hiding in the beaver den. And the predator ends up fighting the bear and killing the bear, holding it above its head, and the blood's coming down over the predator. And you see the outline of the predator because of the blood on him. And
which was perfect writing.
yes.
So now you get to see what it looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she gets away, and he has to let her go because she's not a threat. Like, there's no threat there.
Mhm.
She's not turning on him. She doesn't have a weapon. And they show her losing all her weapons in the process, which I just thought was great writing. It was a great scene. It was good action. And it showed the strength of the Predator. And she realized right then, what the fuck am I dealing with?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I do have a runner-up for my favorite when you guys are ready.
Go ahead.
Oh, now it's just gone. Hold on.
Okay, so
That happens to me all the time.
it's not a runner-up, it's a runner-away.
Yeah, it's a runner away, that's for sure.
I think besides that, like we, alluded to it earlier. Like that scene with her and her brother shooting the bird and stuff, and it's just like the chemistry between them. Was, I mean, it's not high impact or anything like that.
And that follows
felt
through.
like there was a lot of meaning.
That follows through from that scene all the way until the final scene where Tabe gets killed.
Yeah.
Like, and he basically sacrificed himself for his sister.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm done. Like, there's nothing I can do. I could feel him behind me. He's about to stab me. You need to do what you got to do. And the fact that what he told him to tell what he told her to tell the lion, that's what she said. It's the last thing she says to the predator.
Mm-hmm.
About, remember?
You go no further.
Yeah, you go no further. This is as far as you go. You go no further.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. Like,
and I do like too that the fact that that he made sure that she knew that she did pretty much kill that lion.
Yeah.
That he just basically finished him off.
Yeah. He basically said, if it weren't for you, I did it your way. That's how I killed it.
Yeah.
I did it your way. So you came up with your second favorite?
Yeah, I remembered it. I liked the scene when they were tied up in the camp, and she's telling the story about the flood and the beaver who gets caught in the driftwood and it chews off its own leg to escape.
Oh, yeah, that was
scene.
good. That was
is
great.
a good scene.
I'm smarter than a beaver.
Yeah.
Scoot down. You remember when they had that flood and the beaver chose out because it knew it would die if. What are you doing? I'm smarter than a beaver.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. And the fact that they were hung out there to dry, and they knew they were bait, but she also knew that they were in no danger.
Yeah.
Because they were not a threat to the predator.
Yeah.
Which goes back to what I said at the beginning. They held true to that standard.
Yeah.
Which they showed in Predator 2. They alluded to in the third one, because the doctor was never a threat until he was a threat. And then in the first one, it was the girl, the prisoner, who wasn't a threat because she was a prisoner.
Yeah.
So like I love that they held true to that.
Mm-hmm. And I do like that they put that in there where she got trapped and that's how she learns it, because they don't just say, oh, hindsight. Well, we already did movies like this, and this is already well established. Right. We don't have to put it. But no, technically, this is
because it's a prequel.
Yeah.
This is
Well,
so they showed it in Predator 2 because Predator scanned her and saw that she was pregnant. Saw that there was an infant in her belly. She didn't know she was pregnant until the paramedics told her, or nobody else knew she was pregnant until the paramedics told them. Oh, there's a fetal heartbeat. This woman's pregnant. Oh, that's why she didn't get killed.
Yeah.
And in this one, you had to explain it at some point, and I thought they did a good job of explaining it. I feel there was great writing from beginning to end here.
Absolutely.
I think the acting was good from beginning to end, and I think the directing and the cinematography was great. I know the other podcast that does movies, they're big on the score. Like one of the guys is really big on the score. I didn't pay much attention to the music, honestly. I really, in movies, I don't much pay attention to the music unless it distracts from the scene. So if it's a negative thing, then I say, oh, that music was fucked up.
Yeah.
Other than that, I really don't. But
unless it's something like a Rocky where the music is just enhancing the scene.
Right, but even when I originally watched Rocky, I didn't pay attention to the fucking music. I paid more attention to him running through the streets, saying hi to everybody, waving at everybody, going up them steps and feeling victorious. I didn't think of the music. Now the music actually enhances that scene, but as the first time watching it, that's not what I felt or looked for.
You see, I'm big on music as a
musician.
Yeah, as a musician, I'm big on the music, and a music can add so much, or it can take so much.
Okay,
away.
so what did the music do for this movie? Or were you too focused? Were you too focused on the beautiful cinematography? Because I was.
I mixed.
I absolutely was.
Amazing music in a movie, you won't notice.
Okay, then it must have been amazing because I did not notice. I couldn't tell you.
I didn't notice it either.
I couldn't tell you one.
This is
Note of
this
one
is one
score.
of those movies where the music is kind of subtle
Yes, it's
and it
ambient,
just
very ambient.
enhanced the whole thing.
Yes.
You know, because you're already paying attention, so you're so absorbed by the action that's going on and the story that's being told that music that's so subtle that just became part of it and you don't even realize.
And I'm gonna go back on what I just said about good movie music you won't notice. There are exceptions to that.
Star Wars.
like
Like you think Star Wars, you think of the music.
Yeah.
Because it's so bold, it's so profound. But I couldn't tell you one note of what happened in this movie. Rocky, I could, but when I was sitting down watching it the first time, I couldn't. But I don't care who you are. Everybody knows the Imperial Death March. Everybody knows the opening to that movie, the music, because it's so profound, it's so in your face, and that's what you're meant to focus on at that moment, I think.
Yes, and some music, even for scenes like the Imperial March, Vader's walking, that music's meant to stick out because so does the character.
Yeah.
So, music is very integral to cinematography. And
I think it is.
It worked very well with this movie.
I just don't know that I paid any attention to the music. Like I was stunned by the cinematography, by the
cinematography.
Yeah, I just
the
think it's one of those
scenery
things
and
where it
everything.
just blends too well into the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't got the like all these words coming up. You know, rising up, back on the street.
Yeah.
You know, so you're not.
Now we'll get a copyright strike because that was beautiful.
We're done. We're done.
He's saying 3 words.
We actually got a copyright strike on this show for showing a portion of a 1960s movie. It was like 30 seconds of a 1960s movie.
Are you kidding?
And it was a movie that wasn't even a popular movie. It was like, John brought it up. I'm like, what the hell is that movie? So we looked it up, and I played a 30-second clip of it, audio only, and we got a copyright strike.
Wow. Now I know, like I've seen people talk about it before, like when they do like movie reviews, and they'll have first of all they make sure their picture is in the video itself, and they talk as that's happening.
Well, according to
And that's supposedly
the law,
can prevent it
as
from
long as you're creating new content, specific new content, and you're not monetizing the movie itself, it's not a copyright violation. So I'm creating original content, basically commenting on that movie, and we only put the sound on. We didn't put the video on, and we got a copyright strike. So I say, fuck you, YouTube.
fuck you.
I can go into some stuff about that because I had to study that a little bit in school. But
That's for another podcast.
yeah, that's for another podcast.
So for now, we're going to wrap this one up. Overall, I don't want to say rating of the movie, but thumbs up, thumbs down.
Definitely.
I definitely give it a thumbs up.
A thumb and a half for me.
Only because you can only put a thumb and a half up.
Yeah.
If it was Siskel and Ebert, I'm giving this one 2 thumbs. I love this movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was done well. I thought it fit well into the franchise. I think that while they changed some stuff from canon with the comic book, I think what they did was good, and I think they're going to build on it for another movie,
They better.
Yeah.
which would be great. I don't know if it's series worthy. I don't know if it's a TV series.
I don't know
I
how
think
you're
a
going to
TV
pull
series
a
would get
series.
old.
Yeah, well, you know how a lot of that stuff is rumors. Some of it's, it's a great idea, but sometimes it doesn't happen.
I think maybe 2 or 3 movies. Yeah. Another movie with her as a character, go maybe 50 years, 60, 70 years in the future.
Sure.
And she could be an elder and there could be another youngster. I don't know. But, I'd love to see another movie based on this one.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it in a theater. Is where I'd love to see it.
Oh, absolutely.
I think this one was very deserving of being in the theaters, and it was streaming on Hulu. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I would love to see this on the
Hats
big
off to
screen.
Hulu
But
for this
the sad truth, though, is it's probably because they're trying to bring in a newer audience, and newer audiences, people, millennials and people my age, just don't go to the movies anymore.
Zoomers. I love the movie.
It's all about the
I love
streaming
sitting in the
service.
theater.
But movie in a theater, you don't just go to the theater just to watch a movie.
No,
Go
you eat
to a
popcorn
theater-
too.
Well, you go to the theater to experience the movie.
I've always been a big fan of like 3D. You know, it's
I hated 3D. Oh my god, I hated it.
really.
Oh, I
I
hated
love it. But you know, a lot of the times it's hard to find a movie where they do it properly. Like I want stuff that looks like it's coming out and almost hitting. You know, otherwise it's just it looks like you're looking through a big window and you're seeing it live. Yeah, that's cool.
I'm not a fan of 3D. I never.
I even have a 3D TV at home.
I saw Jaws 3 in 3D.
Jaws 3. Did you see they're coming out with Jaws? Redoing the original.
I don't like that. I'm not a fan.
Re-showing it.
If they re-show the original movie, I will absolutely go to the theater to see it. If they remake the original,
Yeah, it's not a remake.
Okay.
It's showing all the same. It's the same movie. They are going to put it in
digitally enhanced.
they're going to put it in a 3D format for people like me. Obviously not you.
Yeah, but I'll go if it's the original movie. I'll go see it. Like
I'll
I
probably go with.
like originals. I don't like reboots. I hate that they reboot Spider-Man 16 times. I hate that they reboot Batman 16 times. You know what? I enjoyed the Michael Keaton Batmans when they came out, and now I look back at them and I'm like, that was kind of corny. But it was supposed to be. It was a Tim Burton film.
Yeah, I mean, it was great in that era.
Yeah.
You got to remember how you felt then.
Right. That's why I said you got to look at films for what they are when they were made. Like, absolutely, the newest Batman I enjoyed,
I hated it.
but it was a reboot. Like, I'm not a fan of reboots. I watch it because it was free. It was a free boot for me.
Yeah.
The ones before that, yes, I enjoyed them. I enjoyed the Dark Knight series, but am I a fan? I would rather go back to the originals, honestly. Did I like Val Kilmer as Batman? Yeah. I know people hated him as Batman. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie, but
Most
it
people
was a
I come
reboot.
across like Val Kilmer. It's George Clooney's and
I hate George Clooney.
Patterson's Batman that everybody hates.
I hate George Clooney.
I mean, this movie, I could probably spend the whole thing.
Oh, not
telling you
George
how
Clooney. Who's the new one?
Patterson.
No.
The one before Patterson
Yeah.
would be Ben Affleck.
I hate Ben Affleck.
Really?
I dislike Ben Affleck with a passion. Almost as much as I hate Nick Cage.
Now, do you hate the man or the character?
I hate anything he's been in. I don't think he's a good actor. I don't think Nick Cage is a good actor, but I will tell you that I've liked most Nick Cage movies. I think he's a horrible actor, but I've liked the movies he's been in. I think despite him, they were good.
See, when I look at now Batfleck,
Batfleck. I don't like him. I just don't. I don't think he's a good
closest
Batman.
interpretation to Batman we've ever had.
No. Oh my God. Get out of my house.
He is the height, size. He is the closest interpretation we've ever
Not
had.
a fan. I just like Ben Affleck.
Even as much as I love Keaton, like he is the Batman in my eyes, but he's like 5'10" or something, 5'9". Keaton. You know, when you got Ben Affleck, that's 6'2", 6'3".
And who is the one in between? I liked him. Dark Knight.
He's short too, and I did like him. That's Christian Bale.
Yeah, I love Christian Bale's Batman.
He's
I
a
love
good
the Dark Knight series because there was a Dark Knight series of the comic books that I enjoyed.
Yeah, the Frank Miller.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't like Ben Affleck, dude. You know what killed it for me?
But we don't all have to like the same stuff.
When he did Daredevil. Killed it.
Yeah, that's just another one of
Horrible
those movies
movie.
I don't think it was all that bad. I mean, it wasn't great.
Horrible movie. Now, the Netflix series was fucking awesome.
Charlie Cox.
They did him properly.
Yeah, and they're bringing him back.
Because Daredevil always got his ass kicked. Same way Spider-Man did. Spider-Man always got his ass kicked. He was always beat up, bloody, and bruised at the end of every fight. But he triumphed anyway. Which is the same way you would think a blind person would be in...
But always how when they talk about Superman, they're like, well, he could have destroyed him, but he's always holding back. Well, it's been a long-known thing through the comics. Spider-Man does the exact same thing. He's constantly conscious of holding back because he knows how strong he is.
Yeah.
He's not Superman strong or Captain Marvel strong, but he's extremely strong.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Like, he'll punch right through somebody.
I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. Anyway,
I enjoy Spider-Man.
We digress. So, we just took on the movie Prey, and what would officially be our first movie review. I want you to go and check out Prowlers Pit on Facebook, Charles Legg on YouTube. I'm going to link them below. So we took on Prey. Now you go take on the world one prey at a time.
Peace out.
This show is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find the other great shows on the network, head over to thedeluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hold on, stop.
Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, Boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that.
Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill.
You want to be my wife?
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.